Now let's turn our attention to Mexico. Their president is Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, more commonly called AMLO. He made an announcement yesterday. He said Mexico is pausing its relationship with two embassies, the US Embassy and the Canadian one. Now, AMLO is furious with the American ambassador for his comments regarding Mexico's judicial reform. The president wants to scrap the usual merit-based system of appointing judges. Instead, he wants people to directly elect judges, making it a popularity contest. This proposal has drawn criticism from within the country and from the American and Canadian ambassadors. But AMLO is not having that. He has slammed both these ambassadors and paused ties with the two embassies. Here's our report.
How are we going to allow the U.S. Ambassador Ken Salazar to give his opinion? To say what we're doing is wrong.
How is the relationship with Salazar right now, Mr. President?
It's good, but it is on pause.
A pause means he can't come anymore.
A pause means we'll take some time.
That was Mexico's president, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. Yesterday, he expressed his displeasure with the U.S. ambassador to the country, Ken Salazar. Salazar stirred up a hornet's nest last week. He criticized the Mexican government's proposed judicial reform. The reform is certainly contentious. It has led to protests in the country. Members of the Mexican judiciary have taken to the streets.
We are on strike. I am a sitting judge due to a reform that is intended to be carried out within the judiciary. They intend to somehow dismember the federal judiciary by having judges and magistrates elected by popular vote.
No matter how good their intentions may be, the most popular person is not necessarily the best one to solve the problem as a judge.
Judicial appointments by direct voting does pose risks. The judiciary and Mexico's public have been highlighting the issues. They've been marching for days. And last week, the US ambassador decided to add his 2 cents.
I think the direct election of judges represents a risk to the functioning of the democracy in Mexico and the integration of the U.S., Mexican, and Canadian economies. Direct elections of judges could also make it easier for cartels and other bad actors to take advantage of inexperienced judges with political motivations.
His points seem fair, but Lopez Obrador was not impressed. He saw it as American interference in Mexico's domestic issues.
They have to learn to respect Mexico's sovereignty. That's no small thing. We're not going to give them advice over there.
So what does this mean for the US-Mexico bilateral relationship? Well, nothing seems to have changed yet. Lopez Obrador says that the pause in ties is with the embassy, with Ambassador Salazar, not with the US itself. But it's unlikely that Lopez Obrador is thrilled with Washington either. The quip about respecting Mexico's sovereignty seems to have been directed at the US, not just Salazar. But while Lopez Obrador is still being cautious with the US, he couldn't help but express his disdain for Canada.
What a coincidence that the Canadian embassy also says something at the same time. Respectfully with the Canadian government, it gives me second-hand embarrassment. They seem like a partner state.
He has paused ties with the Canadian embassy as well. After Lopez Obrador's outburst yesterday, the US released a statement. They reiterated their utmost respect for Mexico's sovereignty. The US had sent this statement to the Mexican government last week itself, but they made it public yesterday, probably to mitigate criticism. Will this help cool tensions? Probably not. The only way for that to happen is if the US takes a step back and lets Mexico deal with its own problems.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment.
So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree. One tree for humanity. One tree for Mother Earth. One tree for a future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
Kamala, you're fired. I say, bring it on.
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill. We know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.
On this today, the T20 World Cup bandwagon has moved across to the West Indies. What can we expect from this?
Hello, I'm Alison Green, coming to you from Durban, South Africa. Today we have a special show.
Start with a report on India's shifting nuclear posture. The first time since India officially became a nuclear power.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Eric Ham, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C.